When I read the book, Half the Sky, a couple of years ago, I was stunned, and I think a lot of people were. Not so much by the stories about women overseas, because regardless of how it sounds, when we hear statistics about abuses against women, we almost expect them to be about women in the Congo, women in Eastern Europe, or in parts of Asia, not about women in the United States. But I think what stunned me the most was the fact that in the aftermath of the book, I didn't really hear any of this, either the book or the statistics really being talked about amongst Christians, particularly conservative Christians and especially Christian women. I think that many of us have been fooled into believing that women in the United States are better off than they really are, and that any issues that remain are negligible. Where are the women of God when a well-known televangelist recommends, even if he thought that he was joking, that a man should think about moving to Saudi Arabia so that he can beat his wife? As if Muslim countries are the only countries where women are being beaten, and there aren't 3 women being murdered by husbands or boyfriends in this country every single day. Where are the women of God when 1 in 4 American women will be sexually assaulted at some point in their lives, many of them before the age of 18? Or when 37 states allow rapists to sue for parental rights, and there are hundreds of thousands of untested rape kits in police stations in this country. The estimate is that only 3 out of 100 rapists do time. Where are the conservative Christian women who are talking about rape, domestic violence, sexual abuse, sexual assault, slavery, injustice, and inhumanity, and poverty in the United States as loudly as we talk about abortion? Why are we willing to jump up and down about abortion, but not the crimes that often lead to abortion? When I look around, there simply aren't a lot of Christian women who are actively and consistently, every day, every week, taking the love and compassion and the message of Jesus Christ outside of their families, outside of their church communities, and into the world. We have a lot of women at home, constantly minding this ever-expanding definition of motherhood. And I think that there is this complacent hope on our part that if I take care of my family, the rest of the world takes care of itself. Feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, caring for the sick, standing with the oppressed or victimized is very rarely on the agenda of Christian womanhood. And yet Jesus was so clear in Matthew 25 when he taught the parable of the 10 wise and foolish virgins, when he talked about the talents and defined his standards for righteousness. There will be many women and men who will be angry with me for saying this and for saying it so forcefully, and I understand that. The status quo, no matter how bad it is always preferred. And the church is like any other organization where there are a lot of sacred cows, and the role of women is one of them. But we have an equally sacred trust that many other women do not. We are relatively free to speak, to move in the Spirit of God, to address injustice and the inhumanity of humanity. And the blunt and honest truth is that we are not.